Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, I have something extra, extra special for you. Tonight, our guest is Hadassah Haddie Ramieka Mcdonald, wife, mother, 11-year dialysis patient, FSGS patient, who is currently on hold at Vanderbilt Health Transplant Center in Nashville, seeking a kidney transplant and a kidney advocate. Hattie's been a kidney warrior and patient for over 18 years now. Hadassah's kidney story begins in April of 2006, shortly after she and her husband Keith were married. They moved from Brooklyn, New York, to a two-bedroom apartment in New Jersey. Haddie noticed that she felt tired all the time during their move, with lightheadedness, feeling drained, and spending a lot of extra time in the bathroom. Her feet were swollen, her face was puffy, and she was late, female late. They subsequently discovered that she was pregnant. At the women's clinic, doctors took blood samples from her and not only confirmed that she was pregnant, but also found protein in her urine. They informed her that this was a sign of kidney failure and placed her in the dangerous high risk pregnancy list. At an OB appointment 5 months into the pregnancy, her doctor found her blood pressure was 200 over 180. That's way too high, and sent her directly to the emergency room to be admitted. And quote unquote, you will leave the hospital with your child, unquote. They went directly to the hospital at Robert Wood Johnson University on the high risk pregnancy floor, where the doctor ordered bed rest for 3 months, where her daughter Tiana was born. The medicine that she had to take for her kidneys caused her a lot of pain. 3 years later, the couple had a second child, Xavier, born prematurely. He had to spend 2 weeks in the NICU before they could bring him home. By 2013, Hadassah had located a vascular surgeon to place her dialysis access as her kidney numbers were declining. She had a graft placed and began dialysis in July of 2013. Unfortunately, the first graft failed and a catheter was installed while her new graft healed. Haddie has experienced all forms of dialysis in her 11 plus years of experience, including in center, peritoneal, and currently home hemo, all the access methods that accompany those with the necessary surgeries. She has also experienced multiple angioplasties to keep her grafts in working order. So, as you can see, Haddie has been a true kidney warrior, and we will discuss all her challenges during the course of this broadcast. She is currently listed for transplant at, I think it's UAB. Haddie, do I have that right? Uni-
Um, with Vanderbilt, but
Vanderbilt, I'm sorry. Okay. You're on hold currently, right?
at the moment,
All
yes.
right. That's going to change. Don't worry. Um, she's had two false alarms for kidney transplant. Since her diagnosis in 2006, Hadassah has suffered greatly as a kidney patient, but due to her family and her faith, she has persevered for the last 18 years with grace and has set an amazing example for all of us. The support that she has received from her husband Keith as her caretaker led to the American Kidney Fund naming him as their 2014 Caretaker of the Year, and even led him to a new career as a dialysis technician. Haddie is an outspoken kidney advocate for many, many groups despite her physical and mental challenges. Please give a warm welcome to our friend, Hadassah Ramieka Mcdonald is with us tonight. Haddie, how you doing?
I'm good, Jim. How are you doing?
Doing well, my friend. Doing well. Glad you're here.
Thank you. It's an honor when you reached out to me and asked me to be a guest on your show. I told my and I said, Uncle Jim Myers asked me to be on his show. Like I told him, I said, he's like boots on the ground. Like, I mean, I always spoke highly of you to him.
Well, I'm honored and flattered, but after I read your story, I couldn't resist. I just thought I got to get her on. I got to share this. Did I state everything correctly in the introduction? Is there anything we need to change?
No, you pretty much, yeah, you gave a brief, intro. Yeah, you were correct. Yeah.
Okay. Our friends Dawn Bates and Elizabeth Oldham are on. They're saying hello and wish you well.
Hey, Dawn. I know Dawn, mates.
I understand that you're a married lady. Can you tell us to whom you're married?
Yes. My husband of 19 years. His name is Keith. Yes.
And you have children? How many children do you have?
We have two children. Tiana's 18 and Xavier's 15.
Okay. What kind of work does your husband Keith do?
He's a dialysis technician.
That comes in handy, I bet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. And he's an excellent tech.
Good. Good. Please tell us a little bit about where you grew up, your education, and your employment experiences.
Okay. I grew up um, in Brooklyn, New York. Um, I was born in the late 70s. Um, so growing up in Brooklyn was let's just say it was never a dull moment growing up in Brooklyn, New York. um, my education, I graduated from Erasmus Hall High School in 95, and I I didn't go straight to college from there. I did get accepted into Brooklyn College because I was trying to pursue a music career. Um, I played the flute very fluently. So I got accepted into Brooklyn College for that music program, but I didn't go through with it because at that time, I was, you know, living with my mom, and I had to go to work. I had to help her financially, so I had to go to work. So I couldn't pursue my college, um, education at that time. But later on in the, I believe 2000, the year 2000, I went back to school. And this time I went to nursing. Um, but I was working full time and I was going to school and feeling very sick during those years and didn't know why. I had to take a time off work. I'm glad I had a boss at the time that was pretty understanding. Um, he would let me go. There were times I had to go straight to the emergency room from work because I wasn't feeling well. Didn't know what was going on. Um, but I had to quit school again because of the way I was feeling. I couldn't handle both a full-time job and going to school at night. So I'm up midnight hours doing paper when I got to get up at 5:30 in the morning to get ready for work. So it was tough. I was getting home from my last class at about 10:30, 11 p.m. at night. And I had to do my homework and it was just too much, you know. So I had to choose. I'm like, my mom, she's on a fixed income. She can't support me. So I had to work. Again, I couldn't finish school. So I had to, yeah. So I did a year though. I'm proud of myself, but yeah, I had to,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. I understand that just over a year after you were married, you and your husband moved from your small one bedroom in Brooklyn to a two-bedroom apartment in New Jersey. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
Oh yeah. Moving from one state to another wasn't easy, but we did it with the help of family. Um, we loved, our apartment when we moved to in New Jersey. It was really a nice place. Um, and You mean like the apartment in New Jersey or Brooklyn?
The apartment in New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, the apartment in New Jersey was a nice apartment. Uh, it was nice for a single couple, for just a married couple, but not with children. So, uh, um, when we were during the move, I noticed I was feeling very sluggish. I was feeling, lightheaded. Just wasn't feeling good at all. Um, but didn't think nothing of it. I just, just continued on until um I found out I was late, you know. And I took a pregnancy test. It read positive. But my husband, he went to the store and got more just to make sure that it wasn't a false. Do you know, Jim, that my husband took one? He used one for himself just to make sure that it that they were working
Working right.
correctly. It read
Yeah.
negative, of course, but I took another one again, and then it read positive. So we were happy, and that's when I made an appointment to see the GYN. Um, it wasn't Robert Wood. It was oh wow, I forgot the name of the hospital, but yeah, I'm sorry. I have brain fog. I don't remember,
It's okay.
but
Um, I've got a note here. Yar Ben, your sheriff says it was a great birthday present for me.
yes, my
It,
husband.
it, okay.
Yeah, his name is your R too. Yeah. But
All
everybody
right.
goes by Keith. Yeah, it's our cultural names, but we have like Hadassah is my cultural name and Yaar is his cultural name, but everybody knows us as Keith, and Ramika. So that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a birthday present. Yeah, it was a bittersweet moment when we found out. Yeah, because
Okay. I I understand that the doctors from the woman's clinic they drew blood from you. They confirmed the pregnancy, but they also found protein in your urine. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yes, when they came back to us with the results, they told me that yeah, it was a positive. I am pregnant. They told me I was pregnant, but they said you have a lot of protein in your urine, and they explained to me what it was. Because I was told that before. I was told that when my husband and I would just first got married, and I went to the doctor for a checkup. um the doctor told me, "Oh, you have protein in your urine." I said, "Okay." Just like, okay. She didn't explain to me what it was. She didn't explain to me what it meant. So I just went on. I went to work back that day. Didn't think nothing of it. I'm thinking protein was something good. I had no idea until when I was told by this particular doctor that I was pregnant, and also he said you have dangerous amounts of protein in your urine. He said dangerous, and
Okay.
he it's kidney failure.
All right. Uh, Yaris is telling me in the notes that Raritan Bay Hospital, does that ring a bell?
Yes, thank you, honey. Thank you. Raritan Bay, yes, in New Jersey.
Okay. So we got the diagnosis that we're pregnant, but they found protein in your urine, and that the protein in your urine was a sign of kidney failure. And it's my understanding they then placed you in a high risk pregnancy category
Yes.
at
Yeah.
that time.
Robert and Bailey
Now,
did not have a high risk OB clinic. So what they did was they referred me, they sent all my information over to Robert Wood Johnson, um because they had a high risk clinic there. Yeah.
okay. And at that time, you had issues with high blood pressure, and I understand there was a concern about preeclampsia
Yeah,
at that time.
that was the second pregnancy. Yeah. With
All right.
the high blood pressure was with our first child. Um I we went in for just a regular checkup. It was just a regular normal OB checkup. And when they took my blood pressure, it was, I believe, 200 over, I think 180. And the doctor was looking at me like, "How are you alive right now?"
Oh
You know,
boy.
he said, he told my husband, he said, um, "Bring the car around. Um, we're going to admit your wife in the ER." And he said, "Mrs. McDonald, you're going to leave the hospital with your baby."
Okay.
So I knew what that meant because I was 21 weeks at the time. I was like, okay, from 21 weeks to I did the counting. I was like, oh no, I had to be in the hospital all those months. Uh,
It,
yeah,
it, and I understand that at Robert Wood, you ended up on the high risk pregnancy floor.
yes,
Am I correct about that? And you were there 3 months on doctor ordered bed rest.
yeah. And I developed gestational diabetes too, on top of everything.
That I understand after the birth of your child went away, the
It
diabetes, correct?
immediately went away.
All right. I understand that you were diagnosed with nephrotic syndrome, FSGS. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Um, in June of 2006, um, the high risk clinic sent me to get a renal biopsy. Um, so I got that done with no anesthesia, um, just local. So yeah, I think I was 8 weeks pregnant at the time.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I felt every bit of it. Yeah, it
Okay.
was pain.
I can't imagine that it wasn't, because they take a needle that's about a foot long and stick it into your back.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen multiple instances um, where you have stated that this first child saved your life. Can you explain that?
Yes. For so many years. I mean, the doctor said we don't know how long um you may have been living with this disease. And I know it was way before I met my husband that I remember symptoms I had. Now that I'm aware of it, the signs: swollen feet, puffy face. Um, I was looking at a photo album of, pictures of me at my job. I think it was back in 2000, 1999, 2000. And I'm looking at these pictures and I saw how puffy my face was. And I remember I had to buy a new pair of shoes every so often because of the swelling in my feet. And I had a desk job. So they had to get me a footrest so I can elevate my feet while I'm typing and stuff,
Yeah.
and answering the phones. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the course of treatment that the doctors decided for you while you were at Robert Wood. What was the course of treatment they thought was best?
Medication. They had me on. Han, if you remember the medications, could you put it in the comments? I don't remember all of them. I know cyclosporin was one. They had me on prednisone. I don't remember the others. I know it was others I had to take that had some harsh side effects that I was suffering.
Okay, your husband mentioned the prednisone. Um, I understand that they intended to induce labor. Is that correct?
With
That
my
was their original intention with your first child?
no, my first child, um, she came on her own at 34.
Okay.
Yeah, she came on her. She was premature as well, but she came on her own. Yeah.
What was her birth date?
November, November 16th. Hi, hon.
Yeah, they were going to induce me.
Oh yeah, they were going to induce. He said, but she came early. See,
Okay.
half of my brain.
Yeah, because what I understand is the intention was to induce labor, and when they got around to checking you out, you had already displayed a 2 centimeters, so your daughter was ready to come out.
4. Yeah, I was 4 centimeters.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when that morning, I remember I was on the phone with my mother-in-law and I felt so much pressure. And all of a sudden, I started, sitting like this in my seat. I was like, oh wow, something's wrong. So I called the nurse and yeah, she came and checked me. She said, "You're 4 centimeters." She said, "Your baby's coming." That was so funny. Oh wow. My daughter, like, she just don't she till this day, my husband calls her turbo because, she came fast.
Okay. When were you and your baby released to go home? Approximately how long were you there?
After she was born, um on the 16th she was born. I think I was they let us go home a few days later because she was a healthy healthy how many pounds was she? 5 pounds I think she was, and 11 ounces. So she was a healthy little thing. She
Okay.
8 hours in the NICU. That was it. They brought her up there just to make sure she was okay overnight because she did come early. She was a premature baby, but she wasn't small. She was a nice size baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your health like after Tiana was born? Your kidney health. What was going on?
The doctors just kept an eye. I believe I was between late stage 3, 4, I believe. Uh, so it was just a matter of them, you know, uh, keeping me on certain meds and keeping an eye on me, going for labs all the time. Yeah.
Can you tell us about once you were home with Tiana, the challenges that you faced raising a child and you're having these kidney issues at the same time,
It was,
particularly with your meds?
yeah, it was tough, Jim. Um, my baby waking up every 4 hours for feeding, and I was just feeling nauseated, chronically fatigued. Um, I was having bone pain because of the side effects from the prednisone. Um, so I'm feeding her and I'm crying at the same time, rocking her. I'm crying.
Okay. And your husband at that time, he was working overnights, right?
Yeah, he was working overnight. Yes, he worked
So,
paper company at the time.
okay, and you were getting up at 2 a.m. to bottle feed the baby, and you were just having difficulty because of the medication and the pain.
Yes.
Okay. I understand that between the birth of your daughter and the time of the birth of your son, your renal function was deteriorating and you were having monthly labs to check on your kidney. So what was that like?
Every month, going to the nephrologist, the drive there was very hard. I was scared, depressed. You know, my husband knew that once I got in that car, I was going to put in my earbuds and listen to my playlist of worship, my inspirational music that would just help calm me because I have an anxiety. I suffer from anxiety, depression. So, it was really tough. I was quiet the whole ride. And my doctor was like I believe, 45 minutes away. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that 3 years later, you were pregnant again. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you discovered you were pregnant a second time?
Um, our son, we were trying for a second child. Our daughter, she was a pleasant surprise. Our son, we were trying for when we found out, when I took the test again, and when I took the test and it read positive, we were happy. Um, so the whole thing, again, lots of um, ultrasounds to make sure that the baby was okay, and blood tests to make sure I was okay. It was the same process like with the first pregnancy because it was high risk. So I had the same nephrology team, the same OB team, phenomenal job. I was blessed with a good nephrology team and a good OB team that they both worked together, you know, to make sure that, me and my child was safe. Everybody did their jobs. I have no complaints.
All right. And it's my understanding that at some point in time you had to discontinue your kidney medications. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Once I got pregnant, yeah, I just stopped. Yeah.
Okay. And you were not on dialysis at that time, correct?
Not at this time.
All right.
My second pregnant, I was doing fairly well. I was feeling great, you know, um, feeling good. I thought for sure that I told my husband, I said, I really hope that we get to experience the whole my water broke, kind of thing, like
Yeah.
hospital rush, grab the bag, let's go. I was hoping that we would experience that, but I was hoping because I was well into the 7th month, almost into the 7th month, when I'm thinking, okay, I'm 6 months, so this is probably going to be great. No, I got the call. Mr. McDonald, your protein, is just too much. We have to admit you again. I was like, oh no. She said, this time, please pack a bag for your baby. I said, oh, here we go again. I was like, no, I'm feeling fine. I thought I was going to. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Approximately when was your son Xavier born?
He was born, well, they had to induce me with him. Um, I was showing signs of preeclampsia. So the doctor told me, he said, if you have another headache, because that's a symptom. He said, if you have another headache, I'm going to have to induce. And sure enough, a few hours later, yeah, the headache was excruciating. Okay. So I called the nurse and I told her, and that's when they prepped the room. And yeah, they had to induce me.
Were you back at Robert Woods at that time?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And just so people understand, Xavier again was born prematurely.
Yes, he was born. Um, his his real birth date was supposed to be late September. He was born in July.
Okay.
And that's
Were
so
were there any issues or complications for the baby or for yourself at that time?
it was complications with him.
What were the nature of the complications?
He um he was born 3 pounds.
Okay.
Or
Uh, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
he was very small. Um, so they had to keep him. They had to feed him through tubes. Um, every
Oh,
time I tell this, I'm sorry.
it's all right. Take your time.
It's hard.
I told you I'm here to the end. I want to give you a chance to tell your story. My notes are telling me that he was 2 weeks in the NICU. Is that right?
Yeah, nearly 3 weeks. Yeah, and he was so small, like you can just hold him in one hand, you know. Um, but they took good care of him there. I mean, the nurse that was assigned to him. She watched over him like like she was his guardian angel. She was just a fantastic nurse. Took care of our son. It was really hard and devastating going home without him.
Okay.
We were there.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We were there from the hospital from sun up to sundown.
All right. What was it like once he was home?
Oh, it was they let him come home when he um gained a pound and a half. Yeah. They felt like he was okay to come home. Um it was tough because he was so small. Like it was like he was still too small for the car seat. So my husband, he had to take like two baby blankets, roll them, and put them on each side of him so he can fit safely in the car seat. Um, no, a friend of mine, she gave us like bags of premature baby clothes because her son was born premature. So she had all these preemie baby clothes, and she said, "You guys have this, so you don't have to worry." Those clothes were too small for him.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, but we did the best. I had to roll them up a little bit. I made it work.
Okay. After your son was born and before 2013, what was going on with your kidney treatment?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Sure. After the date that your son was born and before you went on dialysis in 2013, what was going on with your kidney treatment at that time?
I was still at this time. I had to see a new nephrologist because of health insurance because my husband changed jobs. Um, and so I couldn't have the same nephrology team I had all those years. Uh this doctor wasn't really he wasn't a real good nephrology doctor. He wasn't. He told me that, well, let me backtrack a little bit. The the nephrologist that I had that got me through my pregnancies, um, the last the last time I saw her, that's when, she told me it was time for me to go on dialysis. Uh, that was one of the reasons why I was terrified every time we had to go and make that trip, is when I was going to hear the news, you know.
Okay.
So she explained to me, she said, Mrs. McDonald, I'm sorry to say it, but you're going to have to start dialysis now. And she told me that my kidneys at time functioning at 15%. So she explained to me that I had to go see a vascular surgeon to have a fistula put in, to have a fistula done. And yeah. And then after that, my husband had already, switched jobs, but then we found out the insurance didn't cover me seeing her anymore. So we had to look for a new doctor. So at this time where I'm getting ready to start dialysis, I had to change doctors.
Okay, and this is to the unsympathetic NEP.
Yeah. He just told me that I had to find a vascular surgeon. He didn't refer one to me. He didn't tell me what to, expect or where to go. He just said he left it up to me to do. So I went with somebody who put a terrible graft in my upper arm. The graft only lasted 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then the way it was placed is in my upper arm and all the way like underneath. It was a terrible job. Terrible job.
And this was in 2013, correct?
Yes.
And by July of 2013, you had started dialysis.
Yes.
What kind of modality were you on at that time?
Hemo.
Was that in-center hemodialysis?
Yes.
Okay, and then 2 weeks after starting dialysis, that original graft failed, correct?
Yes.
And a new graft was placed. Can you tell us what happened?
Yes. This time, I found a really good vascular surgeon. Okay. He put a graft in the lower part of my left arm. Um, that graft was really good. It worked very well. It lasted for 10 years. It lasted for 10,
Wow.
but my arm was swollen though because of, the um I had to keep getting angioplasty done because it was a narrowing up here. So go in and they had to balloon my artery up here so that it could get better blood flow.
Okay. Um, in terms of accesses and types of dialysis, I understand that over the course of the past 11 years, you've had experience with everything: in-center hemodialysis, home peritoneal dialysis, and home hemodialysis. Let's talk about your experiences in-center first. What was that like?
Um, the first clinic I was with, I loved it. Everybody was great. I had a good experience. No complaints there. Um, I was there well over a year, I believe, and until a new social worker came in, and she saw that I was like the youngest patient there, and she saw that I had young kids, because at that time I had, you know, my husband was bringing me to dialysis, and our children came along, you know, because they were so small. We had to pack them in the car and bring them along. So she saw that, and she was like, you're so young and you have small children. What are you doing here? That's what she said to me. So I said, well, I have to be here. She said, have you heard of home dialysis? I said, I've never heard of home dialysis. I never knew about it until she told me.
Okay. And what happened after that?
Um, I said, well, I'm gonna talk about it with my husband, and because I'm very much interested in it, you know. So I did. I mentioned it to my husband, and he never heard of it either. So, you know, I got more information on it and talked it over with my husband, and we decided to do it.
Okay. And the first type of home dialysis that you did, would that have been home peritoneal dialysis?
No, it was home hemo.
Okay. Can you describe your experience with that?
Oh, it was great. I had a fantastic home dialysis nurse. I had I had a great home care team in New Jersey. They were phenomenal. Phenomenal. Um yeah, she saw, we went through the training, because you have to go through a training first. So we went through the training, and my husband, he just caught on to it real quick, real easy. And she saw that he was catching on so fast. So when we started to do it at home after the um she saw how he would quickly set up the machine. He was doing it like he was doing it in his sleep. You know, he was doing it so great. So she was watching him, and she said, I don't have to help you no more. She said, you already know what to do. You know, she saw how he was cannulating me very well. Okay. And he was concentrating on what he was doing. He wouldn't, you know, the needle just became like a science to him. Like he would just, you know, take his time and just make sure that it's in, you know, correctly. She was watching him, and she said, you know, have you ever thought of being a technician? And he said no. Like, so she said, you should be a technician. That's what she told him. So
Okay.
she highly she recommended him, and he applied,
Wonderful.
hired.
Um, at some point in time, you were on peritoneal dialysis. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I wanted to try that because I heard that it was a little easier than home hemo. And, you know, at the time, my husband's schedule, you know, it became very difficult for him to help me, you know, with my treatments, because our kids were small, you know, they were young at the time. We had a really busy life. So we were trying to, you know, make this easy, you know. So PD, it was easy. The setup, it was easy. I hooked myself up at night, and I went to bed, you know. At 8 p.m., I had to make sure I was in bed, so I was done by 7 in the morning, so that I can unhook myself, clean my, you know, um, do my wound care, and I just saved cleaning the machine and everything after I was done putting the kids on the bus for school. And that was
Okay.
every day. When you do PD, you have to do it every single day. It's not like hemo where you do it 3 days a week, or even like me, you know, I'm doing it at home. I'm doing home hemo, but I do it 4 days a week. PD is not like that. You got to do it every day.
Okay. I understand that peritoneal dialysis was not exactly suitable for you. Can you tell us about that?
No, it was not. I didn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at night because of the drain pain. um, I couldn't sleep at night because when it fills your belly, um, I don't know the terms, but um, when it fills, when your belly, it's like my belly just got so big, and then the drain pain will start. um it was painful. I couldn't sleep. My husband, I would wake him up because I was crying because of the pain.
Mhm.
And I had very, very, very heavy menses. It was just really, it was bad. My body just couldn't take it. I gained 30 pounds from the dextrose. um and I developed 3 hernias.
Okay. And so people understand the dextrose has sugar in it. That's why you gained the weight, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Currently, you're back on home hemodialysis.
Yes.
All right. And you do better on home hemo than you did on peritoneal.
Yes. Hemo is better for me.
Okay. Let's talk about your support system and your faith over the last 11 years of your experience with dialysis. Um, Tell us a little bit about the people that support you. Let's start with Keith, your husband.
Yes. Keith, he's been by my side since day one. Um he's he's been my go-to person, like he's my caregiver. He helps me a lot. I mean, I don't think I could have gone through these years without him.
Okay. And in fact, he's been so proficient that now he is a dialysis technician himself, like you mentioned earlier, correct?
Yes, I believe it's been 9 years now. He's been,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. I understand that you wrote the American Kidney Fund about your husband as a caretaker and a helper. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I made sure, excuse it's airplane. Um, yeah, I wrote to the American Kidney Fund and I told them our story, about, how we met and uh, our two pregnancies, and how he's been a dedicated, husband, and he was holding down two jobs at one point just so we can make ends meet. I believe this was, I think, yeah, when Xavier, our last one, was a baby. And yeah, so I told him our story, and I didn't think that he would get picked. I said, well, why not? Why not just take the chance, share our story? And sure enough, AKF, they contacted me and said that he was chosen.
In fact, Haddie, I've seen a video that they put together
Yeah,
of you and your husband and your children. Your husband throwing newspapers on people's driveway
yeah,
out of his car, and them talking about what a great job he did taking care of you and your dialysis, and what a wonderful caretaker he is, and the support that you get uh, from your children, and just a wonderful video. And just so people know, if you go to my personal page on Facebook. This broadcast is pinned to the top of my personal page. And in the comments to the broadcast is all of my research with Haddie, all of the links that I could find, including that video, that YouTube video. So if you want to know more about Haddie and her husband Keith and their children, you can go to my personal Facebook page, Jim Myers, Myers, and it's already pinned to the top, so you don't have to look for it. And if you click on the comments, there are all these links to things we're discussing tonight, including that video from the AKF. And it's quite a video, by the way. I stole a number of photographs from that video that I'm going to use to help to promote the replay, Haddie. So just a wonderful piece of work. And I think that the dialysis nurse that you were talking about earlier is in that video too, if I'm remembering correctly.
She was not my home dialysis nurse. She was my nurse when I was in center, and she was like a friend. Yeah, she was like a friend. She was Andrea. Yeah, I remember Andrea. I'll never forget Andrea. Yeah.
My friend Elizabeth's already telling me that she's going to check out the AKF video. So,
oh yay, good.
So you're like a movie star already.
Oh.
Tell us about the support that you get from your children.
Yeah, my children are my world. They I look at them. They both of them are miracles. You know, they're both miracles. You know, they both are born premature, and they're so grown now, and they're so smart, and they doing so well in school. My daughter's GPA is I believe a 3.4. So, you know, she's already looking into colleges now. She wants to study criminal justice. So, yeah, she's my son, he's thinking about being an exterminator. So, yeah, I'm so proud of them. I am so proud of them. They really they look after me. If I need something, they help me all the time. If I'm too weak to do something, my son, the least little noise he hears in my room, he's banging on the door. Mom, you okay? You know, like he's just ready, in case, you know. There were a time when the children they had to this is when they were being homeschooled. One morning I was really not well at all, and they called 911. They handled it so well, the two of them. They called 911, then they called their father, because we taught them what to do, okay, who to call. They followed the steps, to a T. They did very well. They didn't panic. They made sure that they were looking after me while, they waited for the EMTs to get there, and they answered the questions very well too. My daughter,
Great.
yeah, she's the oldest, so she was the one that was talking to them. She knew my diagnosis. She knew, where my meds were to go get them and show them to the paramedic. Everything, great until my husband arrived. Yeah.
Really good. Were there any other people or persons, groups that have helped to support you over these period of years?
Yes, I've had, I have had friends along the way, and also, I'm a part of some advocacy groups like Network 8. I'm a part of PAC, which is Patient Advocacy Committee. I'm a part of Home Dialysis Infinity Group. These groups are with the Network 8 here in Alabama. Yeah.
Okay. Our friend Elizabeth, and I quote, Jim, this broadcast is uplifting. I am grateful I was able to listen. You're doing a terrific job, Haddie.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's comments like that that really inspires me. You know, and really and helps me feel like I want to continue to get my story out there to 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 encourage, enlighten, and uplift people.
All right. Let's talk about your experiences with COVID-19. Tell us a little bit about what happened with you and your husband and how you dealt with it.
Um, we caught COVID. Um, we believe it happened when we went to Georgia. Um, when I was going to Piedmont, the transplant center out there. Um, when that didn't work out, we went to the Georgia aquarium. We went there, and we believe that's where we caught it because it was really jam packed that day. And
Okay.
we thinking we caught. That's when we caught it. Yeah,
Okay. And that was approximately when?
this was the beginning of August. This past August,
2023,
2024.
24. Okay. All right. And how long did you have to deal with this issue?
COVID. Oh, we a week. A
All
week.
right. It pretty
You know,
much isolated the two of you together?
no, our children caught it too. The whole house.
Oh boy, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Yeah, everybody had it. We all quarantined ourselves from each other here. We
All
did.
right.
Everybody
And
quarantined themselves, took their med because all of us went to the doctor. We all got tested. We all read positive. So the doctor gave us all medication, told us what to do. We knew to quarantine ourselves from each other, even though everybody had it, but still, we quarantined from each other, took our meds, and got plenty of rest. That's what we did.
okay. Let's talk a little bit about your efforts to obtain a kidney transplant. Where are you currently listed?
I'm currently listed at Vanderbilt Transplant Center in Nashville. But right now that's on hold. But before it's a long, I just want to let any warrior know that's watching that if you're thinking of pursuing a transplant, that it is a long process. It's you have to go through many tests. So this journey towards transplant, if I can take you back just a little bit, um, last year, July, I lost my best friend to this disease. I watched her die. So I, for so many years, because mostly every doctor asked me, "You're 11 years on dialysis. Why didn't you get a transplant? How come you're waiting now?" I said, "Because years ago, I had a very high BMI and I was turned down because of that. And I got so discouraged, I just gave it up. I didn't care to pursue it until her death. So I was determined to do it. I said, I don't want to die because I saw it firsthand what it's like. So I lost nearly, I lost 45 pounds. I lost 45 pounds and I became eligible. So that's when the transplant journey started. My social worker, she started with the referrals, and immediately I got the calls. and we went to Vanderbilt and went through all the testing. It's a lot of testing. We started in January of this year. That's when the journey started to transplant.
Okay. It's my understanding from talking to you that you've actually had a couple of false alarms. Times when they called you said they had a kidney for you, but they were unable to do the transplant. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. The first time was this past August. I got placed on the donors list. I believe I was told in July. That's when I was placed. And late July, early August. Yeah, late July. And then I caught caught COVID like a week after I got placed on the donors list. So I was so upset. I'm like, I get COVID now that I'm on the transplant list. And I was so upset, but I thought I was done with COVID after the week. Went to see the doctor, cleared me, cleared everybody. We were COVID free. So when they called me, like
August 31st?
yeah, August 31st. Yeah, we went in. At that first call, I can't explain to you, Jim, what it was like, what my family, the emotions we had. I mean, the rejoicing, the screaming, the crying. My husband fell on his knees crying because he's been there since day one when I was first diagnosed. So, he's been there. He saw what I went through all these years. And he's like, finally, you know, this is it. My children were happy in each other. Everybody was so happy. And so we went to Nashville and got prepped, and they draw blood. They took tests. They had to test me for COVID. And long and behold, the test read positive.
This is on the 1st of September?
This was August 31st.
Okay. So they were not able to go forward at that time.
No. They told me, unfortunately, the virus is still in your system up to 90 days.
All right. In talking tonight before the broadcast, you told me there was also a second time
Mm-hmm.
that there was a false alarm. Can you tell us about that second time?
The second time was, I believe it was September, let me see, September 26th. So they called me for another kidney within a few weeks later. Because what they did was they said, we're going to call you next week. They told me the first week of September. They said they was going to call me to make sure that I wasn't, I didn't have any symptoms. Because what Vanderbilt did was, once I tested positive for COVID, they put me on pause. They put me as inactive. So they said, we're going to place you inactive until we call you back 7 days from now to see if you don't have any symptoms. So they did. I'm like, I'm still fine. I told them, I'm fine. I feel great. So they said, okay. So she made note of that. She said, we're going to place you as active again. So after the first week of September, I got the call on the 26th. Mrs. McDonald, we got a kidney. I was like, again? Wow, that fast. Yeah, I try not to be too excited. We were kind of like, we just really hope nothing happens this time. So yeah, we went and I got prepped. This was Vanderbilt. Okay, they called me again. we got prepped for surgery. Everything was okay. Everything was fine. Surgery was scheduled for 6 a.m. that following day. So my husband and I, we showered, got ready for bed, and at the hospital, and when they checked me in, um, and we were fine. We were happy, finally thinking, okay, everything's going fine this time. We was, starting getting happy until around 2 a.m. when the surgeon came to my room. And when she walked in, I looked at her, I said, "What?" Immediately, I was like, "What?" She said, "I'm sorry, Ms. McDonald, but your blood pressure is just too low, and we don't feel safe going forward with the surgery. So there's not going to be a surgery in the morning."
Okay. It's my understanding that since that time, you continue to have problems with low blood pressure and you continue to be on hold. Is that a correct understanding?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're in December now, right? At least when I woke up this morning, it was December 6th.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What are they doing to try and help your low blood pressure?
They're trying to get me to see an endocrinologist. And right now they have me on 2 blood pressure meds to help bring it up, to bring
Okay.
fludrocortisone and betadine.
All right. And the idea is you see the endocrinologist and hopefully he has a solution.
Yes, because this is like, put it this way, the endocrinologist is everybody's last hope, because my nephrologist, my cardiologist, and my primary care physician has been working hard to try and get to the bottom of what's going on with me. Okay.
Okay.
Passed my stress test. Every test, they tested my hormones, they took everything. Everything came back normal. They just don't understand what's causing it to tank all of a sudden. Um, they just don't understand. So hopefully an endocrinologist can, find out what's wrong.
And correct it.
Yes.
I just want to say so our audience understands. I admire you so much because you have not given up after all this time, and I want to encourage everyone out there that is seeking a kidney transplant. Please do not give up. Use Haddie as your example.
Keep going.
Someone that's been persevering for 18 years. I have the time correct, right? 18 years since your diagnosis.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Hmm.
All right, let's talk about your kidney advocacy work because you do act as an advocate, as you mentioned earlier, correct?
Yes.
All right. Tell us a little bit about being a DaVita spokesperson.
Yeah, I was chosen to partake in, when DaVita had DaVita RX, their very own pharmacy. Unfortunately, DaVita RX is not around anymore. But then, yeah, I was chosen to um, do a commercial and pretty much, yeah, be that spokesperson.
All right, and so people know there's a video of that that's on YouTube. The link to the video is in the comments to this broadcast, pinned to the top of my personal Facebook page.
Hmm.
So you can see it if you need to see it. I understand that you've worked with some support groups.
Yes. Here in Alabama, I've worked with Alabama Kidney Foundation. I was a guest speaker at their gala. Um, I've done I've done other uh, I've done other shows. I've done blogs and things like that. People have done stories on me, because they saw my social media like you did, and I was approached, to do blogs and things like that.
Haddish's on Facebook. She has a very extensive Instagram page. She's on TikTok. So you can definitely find her. And all the links to that are in the comments to this broadcast if it makes it easier for you. Tell us about your experiences with kidney walks.
Oh, yes. We haven't been able to really attend any here in Alabama, but when we lived in New York and New Jersey, yes, we were at every kidney walk. The National Kidney Foundation, we attended their walks. Every time they had a walk in New York, we were there. We attended the New Jersey kidney walks. Yep, we surely did. All four of them.
Okay. You're also a subject matter expert for the Renal Network. Can you tell us about your experiences with that?
Yes. I have the pleasure with meeting with other dialysis patients every Wednesday, every first Wednesday of the month. We get together and we brainstorm, and we put together pamphlets and flyers to distribute throughout our dialysis clinics.
Okay. Are there other groups that you work with that I
Yeah.
haven't mentioned?
No, I think I mentioned them earlier. The Home Dialysis Infinity Group, patient. I think it's PAC. It's called PAC. I think it means a patient advocacy committee. I believe it means. Um, and what else?
There's a group in Alabama. I've seen videos from them. The
Mm-hmm.
Alabama Kidney Foundation.
Yeah, uh,
Okay.
I had the
I,
pleasure with them for a short period of time. Yeah.
okay. Before we conclude our broadcast this evening, do you have any final statements you wish to make to our audience
Yeah.
based on your experience?
Yeah. Just want to encourage um, anyone that is pursuing a transplant to be aware that it may happen where your body just, something happens, with your body, and you may not get the transplant, even though that you're prepped and ready to go, anything can happen. Um, if you get COVID, just know that it can be in your system up to 90 days. These are things that a lot of us don't know. Um, keep going. Don't give up. Keep keep at it, okay? Don't stop. Believe me. I mean, I felt like giving up, but I didn't, and I'm not. I say this too shall pass, is what I say to myself.
Okay. That's part of your faith that has sustained you over
Yes.
the course of years. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh my, has it is everything to me. You know, it's my walk of life. It's not, you know, just, it's so important to me, my relationship with the Most High. Like, he's just, you know, I know that he has a plan, a greater plan for me. And faith, obedience to him and his word, his commandments is what I live by. And that's what is what's giving me a reason to wake up every day, is my faith and my family. So faith and family is what's driving.
Excellent. Excellent. I want to remind everybody in our audience, please share this broadcast. Hattie's going to get better. And maybe a live donor would convince the transplant center to take a chance on her and get her a transplant. So please share the broadcast. When you share it, I'm going to share it to all my kidney groups, for example. But understand that people in kidney groups on Facebook are like you and me. We all have kidney problems and can't donate. So please share it to your personal page and in places where lay people will see it to give Haddie a fair chance. Okay? That you do that for your Uncle Jim, all right? And I want to thank you and your husband for coming on tonight and sharing your story and giving me a chance to ask all these questions. And, like everyone else, I learned so much tonight listening to you. It's just, you're an inspiration. And I want to encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing. And if there's ever anything that I can do to help you, please let me know because I'm happy to help. And thank you again for educating all of us. I really appreciate it.
Of course. It was an honor being here. I thank you for asking me to come on. It's been a pleasure.
I did my best to cover the boardwalk, so to speak. So hopefully, people will see this and respond. So I wanted to thank you again. I have a couple of things I have to button up with my audience. Oh, Elizabeth's telling me I'm going to share this on my page. Way to go, Elizabeth.
Yes.
I have a couple of things I have to button up with my audience, so I'm going to let you go if you want to go. Please say hello to your family for me, and please thank Keith for his contributions tonight. He kept us on the straight and narrow, as always, and
Yes.
made sure Uncle Jim didn't mess up too badly. So,
Yes. Yes, he's I will surely tell him that. Thank you so much.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, my friend. Thumbs up. You persevere.
I sure will.
All right, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Night, Uncle Jim.
Good night, everybody. All right, so that's our show for tonight. That's our friend Hadassah. Please share the broadcast, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And if you missed the broadcast, don't worry about it. Instant replay is coming, and I'll be sharing that around a little bit. And next Friday we have. Let me get my note up here. We have Jessica Ball. Jessica's also seeking a kidney transplant, has a terrific kidney story. So we're going to talk to Jessica next Friday. It's at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So please tune in. And I will talk to you all very, very soon. You have a good evening, and thank you for your support.